Call to order council meeting for August 24th. If everybody would stand for the pledge. Remain standing for prayer.
Dear friend, Heavenly Father, we bow our heads before you and thank you this evening for all that we've been given. We're grateful and thankful, Heavenly Father, for the opportunity to be gathered and to be working in thy name. We're grateful for this beautiful city and for the opportunity to serve within. We ask this night that thy Spirit might be with us and help us guide and direct the movements of the city. We ask then also that thou might bless the good people of Vincennes and Knoxtown. Watch over them and keep them safe. Heavenly Father, we give thanks for thee again, all that we have. As we say the name of thy Son, our Savior and our Redeemer, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Can we have a roll call?
Mr. Ashby?
Here.
Mr. Grove?
Here.
Mr. Gornow?
He's absent.
Mr. Lau?
Here.
Mr. McNeese?
Here.
Miss Blinn? Here. Mr. Stengel?
Here.
Mayor Yocum?
Here. Adoption of the agenda.
Need to amend the agenda tonight. We have two resolutions that we're supposed to be on. Resolution 11/2026 and 12/26. This is for the USB. We have the attorney for the USB here to explain those. So I'll make the motion with the amended agenda.
Second.
Motion by President Grove, sent by Vice President McNeese to approve the agenda, amended agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 6-0. Approval of August 10th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the August 10th minutes.
Second.
Motion by President Grove, sent by Vice President McNeese to approve the minutes as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 6-0. Petitions, memorials, remonstrances. Committee chair reports. Move to new business. First up is Resolution 10/2026.
Make a motion to read and approve Resolution 10/2026.
Second.
Motion by President Grove, sent by Vice President McNeese to read and approve Resolution 10/2026.
Resolution 10/2026, a resolution by the Common Council of the City of Vincennes establishing riverfront liquor license containing sections 1 through 6. This actually was passed in 2017, and we needed to tighten up our legal description, which is in paragraph 1. There's also a map showing the riverfront district, which looks a lot better in color, so.
Discussion?
All this is done is adding the boundary
Right.
on this, so.
We didn't have a problem with our first license we issued, but this one, they said it had to have the boundary spelled out, so. And that's why we're doing this.
I'll call for a question.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Miss Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
No.
And Resolution 10/2026 passed by a vote of 5-1. Next up is Firehouse Flats EDA.
Make a motion to approve the Firehouse Flats EDA.
Second.
Motion by President Grove, sent by Vice President McNeese to approve the Firehouse Flats EDA.
This is the economic development agreement for the Firehouse Flats project, having been hammered out between the city and the developer and the RDC. 1 through section 8.14.
Discussion?
I know we have John Anderson of Anderson Properties here. We also have several people to speak, I think. Anderson has a PowerPoint to show us.
Knox County, Indiana Economic Development going to speak as well? Okay.
I don't think you broke it. guys
gonna
wanting
be
to
on the
see
one in
this?
front of
That's
us?
not here.
It's not in front of us.
Kathy, you've been sitting next to Dave too long.
That is for sure.
Try that one.
So
Yeah.
we're
There you
waiting
go.
for that to repeat on a TV that's in front of us, so that's what we were doing.
It's up. It's up.
Speak up here, I'm gonna move that for you.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Council, Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to come back and present. We have been, as you know, working very hard on this economic development agreement, calls every 2 weeks, several iterations to work through this for Firehouse Flats. I have a very short PowerPoint, just a reminder for everyone. This is the property on Vigo Street between 3rd and 4th, currently a parking lot. We are proposing 89 market rate units on that site. Mix of bedrooms, 1, 2, and 3. We will have some 4th floor, really nice penthouse type units, porches, patios overlooking the river, and George Rogers Clark Memorial. We also have a verbal and a purchase agreement out that I expect to be signed any day on the Lincoln House, which is the former funeral home that's been empty now a year or more. That is also part of the project. I should introduce myself, Johnny Anderson, President of AP Development and AP Construction. We are a vertically integrated firm, does legal, finance, construction, development. Our primary focus is historic rehab and building new downtown, so making something new fit into a historic downtown. We've done this in several cities throughout Indiana. We're finishing projects right now in Goshen and Warsaw that are new construction on historic sites. And I just came from Cargus Lofts in Evansville, which we'll finish in December, which is an actual historic rehab of the old Cargus furniture factory. So even when we're building new, we like to throw a little history in there. And given that Lincoln House is very historic, 1842, everybody slept there. We decided we wanted to make that part of the project too, because there aren't really a lot of good uses for that other than a funeral home or apartments. So we have 8 market rate apartments in there, so total 97 units downtown. $24 million investment, $13 million of our equity, project-based TIF, which is part of the economic development agreement, and then the state of Indiana is supporting this project with $5.4 million of READY and LEI funding that has already been approved. I already talked about that. This is going to be the oldest building we've ever rehabbed by about 50 years. So illustration of the project and its orientation. Some things that we've talked about through the EDA. There is now a dumpster there that is used by the businesses and residents on Main Street. We are going to accommodate that in our project, so there will likely be 2 dumpsters there, one for the residents of the project. The other one will be for use by those businesses and tenants, paid for by them. And we've also carved out 6 spaces on our parking lot for public parking, primarily for the flats on Main Street. Because we're reconfiguring I think it's on the next slide. Because we are reconfiguring the parking lot, right now there are very few spaces on 3rd and 4th Street next to the parking lot because there are so many ins and outs. We are only going to have the one entrance on 4th Street, so that enabled us to pick up another 15 spaces on the street, which has been confirmed by the city engineer. Part of the budget includes also the bank parking lot, buying that, keeping a drive-through for the bank, but that will create 57 additional spaces. So parking lot did have 76 public spaces. We're creating, or 76, we are creating 78 spaces. There is another, as you all know, another property in the mix here that would add another 40 to 50 spaces. So at the end of the day, we're gonna have, I don't know, somebody do the math real quick, 80, 140, almost 200 parking spaces downtown. All the economic benefits, construction impacts, one of the things we're very proud of is we use a lot of local labor. If anybody has a specialist, somebody that does something really good in Vincennes, please let us know who those people are so we can make sure they get on our bid list. You know, property values downtown will obviously increase, other economic benefits, as we talked. 97 apartments could bring 140 to 150 residents downtown who are then going to shop and eat and spend their money downtown. This is a slide Matt likes to put together that just shows the return on the TIF, and this is looking at income, sales, and property taxes around the project. And so this is a 25-year project-based TIF. It's no Vincennes or Knox County taxpayer money is going into this project. This is purely the property taxes that are being generated from our investment in the project. And so that comes back into the project. Obviously, the parking lot pays zero taxes now. It's not a tax loss. And then we utilize that to support our debt service on the loan that we will acquire. So this is just a quick, I'm not gonna go through all this, but you can see the economic benefits that we've determined will come from this project. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I didn't touch it. But I'm done, so it's okay.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Anybody got
For John, or?
questions for John, or?
I do. The part about the extra 40 to 50 spots that you said that, you know, that they're working on, I mean, is that something that's close to closing?
Mayor, I think that's a question for you.
We are working on it now, working with a realtor on the property. It is not the Ziegler property, if that's what you're asking.
No, I know that.
Part of the money that we're getting back from the grant is contingent on adding parking. So that we will have to do that.
Uh-huh.
Gotta come up with
What's that?
100 spots?
We already
I
have
think it says here.
to total up to
Right,
100 spots,
right.
yeah.
And I should have mentioned, of that 5.4 million that's coming from the state of Indiana, we have allocated a portion of that back to either the city to build the parking lot, acquire and build the parking lot, or we will acquire and build the parking lot and deed it to the city. But that is not city funds either. That is us reallocating money granted to the project by the state of Indiana to the city to build that parking.
Chris Papp, you're here. Chris, I would certainly like you to talk about a number of things. One, you handed us the Knox County Demographic Outlook. Kind of dive into the numbers of why housing is so important to our community, why the state saw fit to fund this project, and forward there.
Yeah, I'll just start with, each of you should have a packet, and I also sent this to all the council members electronically today. But if you look on the left side there, you'll see a demographic analysis. I think we all understand that Knox County has been losing population to the tune of 5% every decade since 1980. And what we conducted is an analysis of what is going to happen to all of us if that trend continues. So if we do nothing differently than what we've been doing the last 40 years, it's likely that we're going to continue to lose population. You may all recall that we also conducted a housing study a few years ago that suggested that if we are going to turn that trend around and start growing the population, we have got to build housing units. So I think it's pretty obvious that if we stay with the status quo, we're going to continue to get what we've gotten for the last 40 years. So I would ask you to, obviously, that's a few pages long. I would ask you all to take a look at it and really consider what happens to the city, the county, the hospital, the university, municipal government, if we do not do something differently. And when I say do something differently, I mean build housing units that are going to attract, a younger population to Vincennes and Knox County. Something else I want to mention is that our organization is currently going through a strategic planning process. It is not completed yet, but something that I believe you're going to see in that plan is that population growth is going to be at the top of our priority list for things that KCIED can be doing to improve things. The number one answer we get from local companies when we visit them and ask, what is it that this organization can be doing for you? Talent attraction is always the number one answer. We need more people to fill the jobs that we have, and we know that we lose a lot of young people after they go off to school. Some of them come back later in life when they've started a family, for example, but if you look at the demographic trends, we tend to lose young people, especially those who go off to college and just never return. And so I fully believe that this project is one of the best things we can be doing to help reverse that trend. Something else I want to mention, and the other article that you have in the packet, is an article from Indiana Landmarks that is recognizing Anderson Partners for their good work up in Crawfordsville. That project just won a statewide award for historic preservation. John mentioned the smaller project that's in addition to the new construction that they're proposing, and I think AP Partners are probably the best option that we have for the former Gardner Funeral Home to really shore that up, add a handful of additional housing units there, and make sure that that building lasts another 100 years plus, like it has since it was built. So I think both from a adding a good amount of market rate housing and this historic preservation angle, I think this is a great project for us. And as you can see, I think we've chosen a great developer to work with.
Chris, so you're saying 20% population reduction since 1980, basically?
Yeah.
And my time at the chamber, one of the biggest things that we talked about was population loss and how it affected our community in general. But now my time at the city, I understand that from an economic viewpoint that affects the city. We built a city based on a population that was 20% higher. Efficiency only gets you so far. You have to bring people in, or prices will continue to go up, or roads will continue to crumble, or sidewalks will continue to look bad. We have to be able to pay for that. Schools were built with a population of much higher than what it is now. I don't know if there's a school board member here tonight, but they can talk about that. We have to be able to increase our population. That's why we are searching for housing at every step of the way. And it's not just why we are. Cities like Washington, cities like Princeton and Boonville and other places are as well. We're fortunate to have had Beer House come in, the units there, and fortunate to have some people that are building. We've been asking about this at the RDC, on the Redevelopment Commission. I see Tim Smith here, our board president. The Redevelopment Commission has been searching for housing and multi-unit housing for what, 10 years? We have offered to many local people, many local contractors, and some have taken us up, but not to the extent of this.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this is a big shot, and I applaud your efforts and your board's efforts.
Thank you.
So,
One last thing I would mention is just that, and I think this is obvious, but I think when you have this number of market rate units, these are folks that even after they pay their rents, they have money to go out for dinner. And I can tell you that most of the restaurants that we've spoken to are very excited for this opportunity. And so I think that while there have been challenges working through the number of parking spaces, where certain amenities will be to make sure that, you know, that we don't put people in a tough spot. I think most, if not all of those have been addressed. And so I just encourage you all to vote in favor of this EDA. And I don't believe that if this fails to pass, I think it's a huge missed opportunity, probably at least for a generation, if not more. And the last thing I would mention is that with the state grant funding that we've been able to attract for this project, if it ends up that we can't use that, I think it'll put us in a very tough spot going forward with the state of Indiana, and them, you know, looking at us, ensuring that, you know, when we say that we have a project, that it actually is going to pass.
Chris, can you, just briefly, maybe you and Brian could tag team this, the process, this is one step of a multi-step process to even move this forward. Can you tell us about the other steps and what it would be?
Well, I think after,
If it should pass here tonight, I don't.
yeah, and
I don't know.
I'll defer to Brian and the RDC members, but should it pass, then you know, the RDC still has to approve the EDA, and then once that's done, then, you know, we would move forward.
It goes to area plan, it goes to a number.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to pass it first, and then, RDC will pass, their, at their next meeting. Then it goes through purchasing, and, then the project will, there's several steps, but we are the first of many.
And also, I would just offer that with the READY funding and the Lilly Endowment funding that we've been able to attract for this project, both of those have to be used by the end of 2028. So the clock is ticking, and so we don't have a lot of time from the time that all that process happens, ground's broken, and then the project is completed. That has to be done within just under a 2-year period. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
So I know we have several people from the public that are wanting to speak. I would ask to limit the time to 3 minutes. I don't think many people would take longer than that. And if you're in a group, just have a couple of people from the group to speak. But we do want to give everybody a chance to say their piece before we vote on this tonight, instead of doing it in public comment after it's already been voted on. So if you would, if you would form a line over here to the side, once somebody is at the mic, the next person go up pretty much at the corner of the pews there, and keep it cordial. But yeah, you'll have the mic. When you come to the mic, announce your name and your address for the record. Anybody want to speak?
Hi, my name is Becky P. Stinger, and I'm from P-Fections at 321, 323 Main Street. I just have a question, a real simple one, it's probably easy to answer, is on Article 504 of the taxable, actually 503 of the public improvements. I was just a little concerned that said the public parking would be done 60 days after the completion of the project. That's the part that really scared me, because what I was concerned about was the parking during the process. So would there be parking before, like, I was hoping that maybe they would do parking first, and then, but I understood his saying about, you know, he wants one entrance and one exit, so that would help. So that's what my question was.
Yes, if this gets approved and moves forward, we'll immediately start on the new parking lot across the street, as well as the other parking we're working on.
Okay, and, the construction site, I would assume every single parking place of the 80 probably would not be able to be used, correct?
Correct.
During the process, and are we gonna be able to have 80 parking spaces during the construction? That would be my question.
Probably not 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
How close? Because I know right now, during the busy time, we need more
Right.
than 80, so,
We are working with some area businesses that are close that
Okay.
are going to allow, I shouldn't say businesses, churches,
Uh-huh.
to allow us to use their parking spaces.
And I did like your guys' idea about the parking of the employees.
Yeah, and,
go
and like I
some
said, that
places.
would be more for employees
Okay.
because it is a couple blocks away, but it is what we have. But construction of the lot hopefully will be done before or
Okay.
close to the beginning. This is a deadline, so,
Construction wouldn't begin on this until next spring.
We're not going to start construction until spring.
Right, so we've got,
Construction, as Brian said, that is an outside date, so
Okay.
the public improvements get done for us too.
Okay,
We want to tackle that parking lot as soon as possible.
all right. Thank you.
thanks, Becky.
Graham Dykes. My business address is 513 Main. I live outside of city limits, but I just want to kind of share with you. I don't have a bunch of numbers. I mean, I think you have that data, right? But I think maybe a perspective might be helpful a little bit. Because, I mean, as a business owner, and I'm certainly not here on behalf of Hartbell, and I'm certainly not here on behalf of KCIED or KCLEF or any other, I'm just here to scram. And that probably means something more to me than anybody else here, because nobody's paying me to do this, which is usually why I'm up here. But the truth of the matter is, I mean, you know, when I left here at 18, and I was not coming back under any set of circumstances. And what drew me back, obviously, was to work with an opportunity with Brent Stuckey. But my family, I think, is who you're trying to market to bring back young professionals. And when I came back, I brought 2 kids with me. I brought a wife that wasn't from here, and then while we were here, we made one. Okay, and so we added 5. But what did it take for you to get those 5? Well, you lost Mary Zoe Cannon and her family, right? And they had 7. And so there's a net loss there. But Mary Zoe's house was perfect for our family. And it was great for our family right up until the point where our lovely neighbors had a little shooting range outside and we had to move. But the point, I guess the point I'm making here is that if you're truly, one of the things that we talk about a lot at KCIED and as a community is obviously that population decline. And I think one of the things that's really important to register here is that, you know, this is not just a 1980 to now problem. Since 2010, we've lost almost half of the people that we've lost since 1980 to 2010. And me coming in with my 5 and Mary Zoe leaving with her 7 ain't gonna make up that. And a lot of the people, a lot of the professionals from my class, I graduated in 2000, never came back and never looked back. And I think, do I think that having this business opportunity, this market rate housing here is gonna completely change that dynamic? No. But I do believe having that environment downtown where you're showing this investment, where you show and have abilities to market to residents, to say, hey, you don't have to go live in Hopstead. You can have a really nice place right here with new amenities at a lease schedule that you can afford is really, really beneficial. And it's something that's gonna bring you back the type of professionals that you're looking for to increase a lot of it. And I think, you know, parking, trust me guys, the parking drives me nuts, right? I mean, I got people parking in the back of my lot all the time, right? But I think it's something that we can work together to get through. And I don't believe that it should be an impediment to the project, but maybe just an obstacle that we can work together to figure out. So, thank you.
Thank you.
45 seconds to spare, Graham, for an attorney. That is, I was a little nervous when you walked up there. Thanks.
Good evening. Ellen Harper with the Downtown Vincent's Association, and I just want to say that Downtown Vincent's Association is very much in support of this. We have 10 empty buildings on Main Street right now, from 100 block to 500 block. I want those filled. Great historic buildings, and we need people to be in those. But to do that, we've got to have more people downtown too. So with what, I'm going to tag on to what Graham said, I think the parking issues can be worked around. I think we can work together and do it. And I have to say, in my past life with working with the state and I've known a lot of projects that John has done throughout the state, and they've been wonderful projects, and he takes the city, the community into consideration, and he works very well with it. So I just think it's something that's very much important that we need to look at. We talk about what's Madison got, what's so-and-so got, if we don't go after this, somebody else is gonna get it, guys, and we won't. And that stresses me for our community as a whole, not for now, but for down the road, 20 years from now. That's what we need to be looking at. So, you know, this could bring in more business recruitment, it could bring in historic building rehab, walkability, it could bring in the sustainability of downtown businesses. So I just think it's really important, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Ellen.
you.
Hi, Jen Holscher, 718 Broadway. I'm here to speak on behalf of Vincent Knox Preservation Foundation and myself. But first, the foundation, we're pretty excited to see the potential reuse for the funeral home on Main Street. And we've also talked a lot about infill, and our group does support infill in historic districts. It's a great thing to fill in those vacant lots with buildings and have people in them. And we entrust the HRB, the Historic Review Board, to make sure they do their due diligence so that it complements the scale of our city. So that's the preservation. Just for me personally, I live downtown, I work at VU. It's wonderful, it's awesome. I wish more people were down here. It's great for our businesses. It's, like Ellen said, it's walkable, it's lighter on your infrastructure. The infrastructure's already here. You don't have to put a lot of new stuff in. You probably need to do some upgrades, but it's already here. So from an environmental standpoint, it makes sense. So I'm excited about it and hope to see it happen. Thanks.
Thank you.
Leah Richter, we have 305, 309, 313, 315, 302 through 304 Main Street. I just have a couple questions about what's going on. According to the paperwork that I got, there are 89 units with 70 total surface parking spaces. With the city ordinance, it states that 1.5 spaces per 1 bedroom or efficiency, 2 spaces per 2 bedroom, and 0.25 spaces per unit per guest. So if you do the math, this plan needs 169.75 spaces. And then they have 70 structure spaces that are in that lot. So that means they're missing 100 just for the project itself. So in paragraph 5.03, it states that the city will pay to acquire and pay to construct 2 new lots along with the cost of sidewalks and streetscapes. The lots must have at least 100 parking spaces, according to paragraph 5.06, which, back to paragraph 503, the residents of the project will have unlimited access to, without time restrictions, and based on permit issued by the owner to such residents. So with this being said, is that public parking? Is that permit parking by the developer? Because it sounds to me like it's all permit parking by the developer. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then also, it states in the contract that there's a potential of 15 spots created on the street by removing the old parking lot entrances and exits. And then there is, on paragraph 2.04, there are 6 spots on the north side of the property that can be used for public parking from time to time. I didn't know what that meant. So I kind of was hoping you could enlighten me on that. Also in paragraph 2.04, it states that the dumpsters are to be at a location determined by developer. We use the dumpsters all the time and we carry heavy stuff to them. I was hoping we could lock down a location for that dumpster location and also make it permanent in the deed so the dumpster location cannot change. Also, I did not see any mentioning of widening the alley, especially at the entrance and exit to receive semi-truck deliveries to the existing businesses who receive large deliveries pretty often. We sell furniture. We get semi-trucks. You don't want them on Main Street, you don't want them on the side streets. It's best to have them in the back of the building, and we've actually restructured our building to receive deliveries back there as well. I really don't want to block traffic down Main Street. Also, there is no mention of safety concerns for the store entrances that are on the alley side. Since there will no longer be a through passage like currently in the parking lot, The alley will be the only passage, and most likely traffic will pick up significantly and possibly at higher speeds. It is a safety concern. We've almost been hit several times walking out of the back of our alley. Also, the developer states in paragraph 5.05 that the project will result in increased assessed valuation, which will generate tax increasement revenues in the TIF zone, and the city will pledge 100% of the TIF revenues to the repayment of those bonds. The paperwork I said says 6.5 million, but on the presentation it said, I think it's 5.5, with a max interest of 5.5%. So does that mean that the extra money that we have to pay on our property taxes due to this project increasing our unrealized property value will be used to pay their bond? Also in 5.06, the developer can refund the city up to $800,000 for public improvements, but the city agrees to help the developer qualify for any and all other state incentives available to the project to pay this amount off. Does that mean that they can use any and all city resources to pay what they pledged to the city? Like as far as like in grants and different things like that. I'm just helping, will you help me understand this? Also in 5.02, the waiver to tap and permit fees, does that mean that the city will, all the city fees are waived or reimbursed for this project? Also with zoning 5.01, the city shall assist in the support of any rezoning or variances required to complete the project. So even if we run into something that is not best for the community, does the city have to support the project needs? Is that what that zoning paragraph means? And then also in 5.07, it just says reserved. I didn't know what that was for and if it could be spelled out. I don't know what the details are on that. And then also Exhibit C, I didn't have anything on that document, so I didn't know what that entailed. And I guess a big question, I've heard rumors that we don't have all the 100 parking spots. Is that gonna be locked down before anything is signed or agreed upon?
All right, we want to break this down and take, a lot of questions there, so.
I only had 3 minutes, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's why we're here. Sure.
I think I got them all. Parking, zoning, ordinance, we've talked about that before. I think, well, I'm gonna say your parking requirements are archaic, to say the least. Nobody builds 2.5 parking spaces anymore. Most cities do not even have a parking ordinance downtown, for that reason. Every project is unique downtown. If we start building parking for everything we build downtown, I have to tear down half of Main Street for parking. So we will present our variance. It's the reason we worked up so much parking to make this work. So on those numbers, the point of the public parking is we have residents that are going to be staying overnight. It's the reason we the reason we say those are permit spaces for tenants is so nobody gets a ticket at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock. When we start ticketing, it doesn't mean that they're just ours, that my resident comes home with a sticker and the parking lot is full, then they gotta go find another parking space. They aren't reserved parking for us, it's just so people who live there have the ability and the right to stay over. Dumpster location is determined by geography. It has to go on the corner because that's the only way a truck can get in. If I leave it where it is now, I lose 20 parking spaces, so a truck can come in back into the parking lot. None of us want that, and so that's why it's located where it's located. Nobody's property taxes, if they go up, I don't get any of that money. It's project-based TIF. It's only the taxes generated from our increase in assessed value. If somebody's property value goes up, has nothing to do with us. We don't get any of that tax money. To help qualify for the other money, and this is with the city permits as well, the reimbursement of permit cost is coming out of the state funding, the $800,000. Again, city's not paying anything out of pocket for this. The purchase of the parking lot, the paving of the parking lot comes out of that $800,000. That language of support, we've already passed a lot of that because we have the LEI and the READY funding already. If more money pops up, the state tax credit is now open again. And so because we've pushed money back to the city from the project, we may go back to the state and say, hey, can you give us some tax credits? But it's not asking for more money from the city. 5.0 reserve just means we used to have a paragraph there, and I didn't want to change the numbering of the document, so we just reserved the paragraph. It means nothing. I think I got it all, but if I missed something, Brian? Yeah, I mean, we have, so the parking spaces, to maximize the space and to have some public parking in the parking lot, we have pull in. And so everybody will come down the alley one way, it won't be a two-way alley anymore. Well, I haven't gone out, I haven't. Okay, I'm not gonna do this back.
Semi-trucks,
No.
do
I'm not doing it.
semi-trucks go through that alley currently?
Yeah.
Yes. Will they be able to go through that alley?
I would assume
in the
so.
future?
As we get into the design, right, we have a preliminary design. I haven't paid architects to get in there and
Right.
survey or scan. We will certainly take that into consideration so that there is enough room for a semi to get through there with the parking that's there now. We're not gonna tighten the alley down so much that it becomes just a walkable.
The alley's difficult to widen to begin with because of utilities. There are utility lines and poles and everything else, and once you start moving those, they get really expensive.
Yeah. If you can get the utility company to move them at all.
Which is
Yeah.
almost impossible.
Which I'm trying to get poles moved on a property I actually own that go down the middle of a
Good luck.
vacated alley.
Good luck.
And that's been nearly impossible.
Would they be able
Thanks,
to,
sir.
if they're not able to get an alley right away to do this, are they, have you guys ever had them back in, like off of the street into the lot toward the dumpster?
So right now, they can't go down the alley because they can't get in and out.
Right, but I mean, if they set it up to where a semi or delivery truck could back into that parking lot backing in toward where the dumpster's at now, off of the street, unload, and then do your thing, and then they pull out?
We can't do that geometrically. We would lose 20 spaces. Which parking is the big deal, right? If we have, and then we're gonna have 2 rows of cars between the alley and the drive lane, right? Because they're diagonal. So from a just physical design of the site, we wouldn't be able to accommodate semis coming on site, walking through 2 rows of cars to make deliveries.
Thank you.
So Kevin Emmons, father of Leah, 302 Main. So basically what he's saying, he's shutting down the trucking. There's no option for them to get deliveries in there. That's the way I'm gathering this. There is no option, no giving and taking a little bit. He's not even offering to widen the alleys, do anything like that. It's gonna devastate their businesses for trucking. They have to have that ability to get in and out of there.
So deliveries would probably have to be done on either 4th Street or
Main,
Fifth
Herb
Street.
Street.
that would be shutting down Main. You're talking a catastrophe. Because it can take sometimes upwards of an hour to unload a truck. Because trust me, I've done it with her before many, many times.
Do you
It's just something
typically
that needs to be thought about, because if they don't allow for any of that, and which they said they would in the beginning, and he's not doing it now, what's gonna happen once it starts, going together?
But you'd still have Third Street also that you could unload on, or Fourth. I mean, trucks already unload on Fourth, I see them all the time.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Goss, and we are new in town, and my husband Gary's back there. We actually came tonight because we're getting ready to open Vinyl Pies, and we wanted to check on the alcohol, wine, only beer and wine permit. So I am embarrassed to say this, but I wasn't sure that this was being discussed because we have been full-fledged in construction mode. But this excites me greatly. When we decided to open a second Vinyl Pies, we've never grown a concept, so it's very exciting to be here, particularly in Vincennes. We knew we needed to be in Indiana because of our children, wanted to be close to our children and grandchildren, and we had a heck of a time finding housing. Both sets of children had a hard time with housing, as did we, and we ended up moving upstairs in the building. So I get very excited by this. I also see the trucking pulling in. We have stopped so many semis through construction to bring in an 8,000-pound oven, to bring in heavy equipment. So we have stopped trucking in the streets, and I definitely see that. But just as somebody who has a big background in public education and university setting, and we almost didn't pick Vincennes because of the empty downtown. I mean, we really, really had to be convinced, I'm gonna be honest, by our son, but oh my gosh, am I glad we did. I have never felt such a warm welcome somewhere, and I hope this passes, but I also hope some of those trucking issues are addressed, because I can't wait to be the one welcoming people the way we were welcomed. So again, we didn't even know this was being discussed, but I just wanted to share the issues we had with housing when we got here. So it excites me to have that grow and see the schools and the community and the economic flourishment and the businesses, and to see downtown not so empty, but we are gonna liven it up.
Thank you, Karen.
Anybody else?
No? Okay. Any council comment on any of this?
I've got a couple of things. As we looked at this, I did not see, as I looked into the agreement here, a revert statement for development. So I just want to make sure that if something doesn't go through, that it does, that material or that land comes back to us. That's one thing. I also have questions of whether or not the TIF revenues, that 6.5 million will be able to be serviced under that 5.5%. And that was my two main questions there. So,
Even if it's not, the developer is responsible for the other whatever is not covered under the TIF?
It's not a general obligation bond of the city. It's payable solely from the TIF.
So at the end of 25 years, if there's $500,000 left on the bond, then the developer is responsible for that.
Okay.
And the reversion clause, we won't take title until we're ready to start construction, so.
And with the history of this developer, I do not see that as an issue.
We had talked about that, and if this did go scorched earth, the city doesn't want to own a partially constructed anything. So if they break ground and start the project, the city would never necessarily want that back.
Any other questions? or-
I'll call for a question then.
Alrighty. Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Stangle?
Yes.
Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
no.
Mr. Ashby?
No.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Okay, the EDA is approved by a vote of 4-2. Well, we'll move on to Resolution 11, 2026.
Make a motion to read and approve Resolution 11, 2026.
Somebody want to make a second?
Second.
Motion by President Grove, second by Vice President McNeese to read and approve Resolution 11, 2026.
Resolution of the Common Council 11/2026 concerning this is the $16 million for this is the sewer project grant. Yes, I'll answer for you.
Graham, you
Yes.
can
I
take a
know
little
what it
longer now,
is.
you're being paid.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
That's your Dave.
Yeah, which one are we doing for, do 16?
11.
11.
11,
Okay.
16 million.
All right. So let me just kind of tell you first why I'm here, right? So I represent the Utility Services Board, which is a division of this city, right? We have a separate board, an advisory board, and have separate counsel. That's me versus Dave, but we work very closely together. So what these, I mean, and I'll try to take them kind of collectively because they're the same thing, but they're just different numbers because you basically have the water side of the utility and then you have the wastewater and the sewer side. Or stormwater and the sewer side. So, what we're doing here, and I want to make this clear for everybody so they understand, is that we are not coming before this body today asking for a rate increase. We are not coming before this body today to ask you to commit to issue bonds in any amount, let alone the total amount that's shown on these two resolutions. What we're doing is we're not asking for appropriations or anything else of that matter. What we're doing is coming in before you and asking you to let us keep our options open, all right? And the reason why this has kind of been generated and it's something that needs to be done now has something to do with the Washington Street project. Washington Avenue, excuse me. So that project, as you all know, went from Emerson to St. Clair Street, and I believe Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a $2 million project roughly, or?
It's about, 6 or.
Okay, so I was on the low side.
Our part together
Yeah,
was
oh, yeah. So it's a total $6 million project, but the way that's getting funded is 80% state NDOT, is running it through a federal grant, and then 20% is local matching funds, right? And so the problem, though, is that federal government and NDOT dictate to you as the city what gets included in that project and what does not. And those utilities that you have that are already existing along Washington Avenue in that stretch, both the water, the sewer, and the stormwater, all of those have to be relocated as part of this project, obviously. But our friends at the Fed and our even better friends at NDOT told us you can't include those in this project at 80/20. So we have to fund those on our own. And that dollar amount, we don't even get to say in what that dollar amount is. NDOT basically dictated to us that it's $828,000, all right? And that was the USB share of moving, or its total cost of moving its utilities out of the way. And so that money came out of USB's coffers. We moved money around and got that paid. That way this project could move forward, okay? And so what we're doing is we're bringing this to you now so that in the future, when we come back to this body and present you and the public with information relating to future projects, future capital needs, and as we all know, the discussions surrounding a potential rate increase that we need to have, and we need to have publicly, and to give data to the people to show them kind of where these rates are coming from. But all those questions are for another day. What today is about, and these two resolutions are about, is allowing us to incorporate, if in fact we do at some point in the future issue bonds, to incorporate this roughly $828,000 outlay that was already made into those bonds so that we can be reimbursed. And it's one of those funky rules that the federal government kind of imposes whenever you do bonds. You can't just backdate a project and say, oh, I meant to include that, right? You have 60 days from the time period in which you set the money out and pay to have the project done, right? And so our 60-day clock started on August 13th, thereabouts, okay? And so from the point that the resolutions are approved, we have to be within that 60-day window. Otherwise, we lose our shot to potentially reimburse ourselves, okay? And so the question then becomes, okay, if we pass this, then does that create some sort of pressure or increase our timeline for having a good discussion about rates and potential bond issuances in the future for water, sewer, and stormwater? And the answer to that question is really no, because the way it works is that you have about a year and a half on the very short side, up to 3 years from the point that you pass this resolution to include those costs within the bond, all right? Now, the next question is, why in the world, if it's $828,000, am I coming here and asking you to approve approve reimbursement up to, I believe, for the water, it's $10,700,000, that's 12/20/26, and on sewer, that's 11/20/26 is $16 million. Why am I asking for that amount? And the reason is because the rules basically say that you can kind of encompass the total project within these amounts that you allow yourself to reimburse yourself from. So I'm not explaining that well. Basically, What we're saying is that on the outer edge, we're just throwing a big estimate, a reasonable estimate, and we've used bond counsel to assist us in this, with Ice Miller, a reasonable estimate as to all of the projects that we could potentially put into this bond that could potentially be reimbursable, right? And so that's where these numbers are coming from. It's not necessarily an issue before this body right now of saying, hey, we're gonna approve these, and then we're gonna end up with $27 million of bonds down the road for the USB to pay back. That is not part of this conversation, but it's also part of making sure that we've got enough of a bucket of maybe IOUs in the future that we can pull out of. And so it's kind of a federal little hoop that we need to kind of jump through in order to make sure that this initial outlay that we've made, this $828,000, can be repaid. But then also allowing us to have future discussions about the rates and potential bond increases, knowing that we can come back and have further discussions. So I want to make myself available for questions.
Graham, I have to be honest, I don't like that we're approving a massive amount
Sure.
for something that we're so specific on the Washington project. I think that it is, in a sense, putting a little pressure on the council to look at rates and raise those rates. Without, if we pass this, it doesn't, but it almost feels like we're all saying yes to the rate increase. And there's not been a rate increase presented to this board at this time. So, that's my.
Sure. And that's a fair criticism. And I guess the thing about this is it's one of efficiency, because we could come back to this council every single time that there's an outlay that may be reimbursable from bond proceeds and request another reimbursement resolution and do this, each and every time, right? But it's not necessary. I mean, I understand government's not the most efficient, right? But the idea here is to not have to keep coming back. And of course, I get your point when you say that it's very easy for the kind of the headline media to be, your city council approves, $11 million, $16 million in separate, but the truth is, you're not proving anything other than the ability to reimburse ourselves in the future. And it gives us the opportunity to have these discussions that you're absolutely right, are absolutely pending, and quite frankly, or need to happen, because it has been 10 years since we've had these discussions. And a lot has happened from an inflationary standpoint in that period of time, but those are discussions that we need to have openly and give you data and the public data as to where and why and where those numbers are coming from. And so I absolutely appreciate your position. I think it's a matter of coming before this board and before this council and saying, let's get the formalities out of the way so that we can operate a little bit more freely and have open discussions about what really we need to do, what projects we need to focus on moving forward, and bringing that information and that data to the board and to the public.
Any other questions? And it's just a shame, for one thing, that that's a city utility, yet it doesn't qualify for the 80/20, because we actually own that utility. I understand with Duke and Centerpoint and Sparklight and everybody else is in the way, but.
Yeah, question.
All righty. Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
No.
Mr. McNeese?
No.
Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
Mr. Stangle?
No.
It is a tie vote, so the mayor will make the final vote, and I vote to approve it. Next is Resolution 12, 2026.
Make a motion to read Resolution 12, 2026.
Resolution 12, 2026, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Vincennes. This is for the municipal waterworks, and the total amount of $10,700,000, sections 1, 2, and 3.
Discussion.
Basically, this is the same thing, just on water side.
Sewer side, which is fun to say.
That's correct. So it is the exact same as the sewer side, just we're talking about the water side now. But same deal as before.
Okay,
And
question?
again, this isn't holding you to a rate
Yeah,
increase in the
this-
future.
No,
Does have, yeah,
no, it's essentially allowing us to fit within the federal rules, to reimburse ourselves some of these initial outlay costs and potential other projects as well.
It's the potential other projects that I think I have the issue with, okay,
Right.
in this thing.
Yeah.
And I would just urge the USB to use caution and not plan on, rates before they happen.
I think the USB understands that.
Okay.
But I also think that the USB and the appointments that we've made to that board, you know, also understand that the need to, you know, bring forth evidence and supporting documentation for you, so you and the public can see kind of where these came from, right? You know, and I know there's been a lot of discussion, you know, in the public, and, you know, you have Facebook, and we really need to have some honest dialogue about that. Because quite frankly, you know, we have seen incredible inflation over the last 10 years. We've seen costs increase year over year, and we've seen, living in an environment within this city where our rates have been amongst the lowest with any of our other entities. So you'll hear all these things in the future, and I certainly can tell you that the USB certainly understands the council's position. You know, but part of this is investing in our present and our future. So, but again, those are discussions for another day, and as much as I'd love to sit up here and talk and keep billing hours, but I wanna make sure that you guys have your questions answered as to these resolutions specifically.
Yeah. Question?
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
no,
Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
No.
Mr. Lau?
No.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
and again, it is a 3-3 tie, and the mayor votes yes on approving. Resolution 12, 2026. Move on to claims.
Hang on, getting there. Make a motion to approve claims in the amount, is that my number correct? $95,825.48.
We just didn't feel like spending money this time.
I think that's the lowest claims we've ever paid.
Second.
Bill?
Second
Motion.
before it gets away.
Motion by President Grove, second by Vice President McNeese to pay claims in the amount of $95,825.48. Any question on claims?
Question?
Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
And claims are approved by a vote of 6-0. Approval of payroll.
Make a motion to approve payroll amount of $319,642.29.
Second.
Trying to throw me off. Motion by President Grove, second by Councilman Ashby to pay payroll in the amount of $319,642.29. Any questions on payroll?
Yes. I gave everybody this handout. It's kind of an updated one from our discussion the other evening. I'd be happy to have that meeting again if anybody wanted to kind of learn anything on that. But I think that for the next meeting, instead of the approval of payroll, we're going to be giving you this docket, and it has all our payroll related. As you can see, it's a much bigger number. So we will be putting that on as our approval of payroll claims, and it will encompass all of those items listed.
I don't know how many, I was here at that meeting, but if you were unable to attend the meeting that Kathy had talking about what the State Board of Accounts is requesting and what we need to do in the future, I think it's worth just sitting down with her and taking the time to do that. It was
Very informative.
It was very informative. I don't want to say enlightening. It was very informative on what they're going to be requesting from us as a city financially in the future as record keeping. So, thank you. That's it. We have a
Question?
Call for a question.
Ready? Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
And payroll is approved by a vote of 6-0. One transfer, $605 from Chroma of the City to July 4th expenses.
Make a motion for the transfer of $605.
Second.
Motion by President Gross and by Vice President McNeese to approve the $605 transfer.
Question.
Ms. Blinn?
Yes.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. McNeese?
Yes.
Mr. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Stengel?
Yes.
Mr. Ashby?
Yes.
And that is approved by a vote of 6-0. Miscellaneous. I do have a proclamation that I would like to read. And this is for Ukraine, our sister city, Ulrich. It is City of Vincent's Office of the Mayor Proclamation. To all whom these presents may come, greetings. Whereas on August 24th, 2026, Ukraine commemorates the 35th anniversary of its independence declared in 1991. And whereas the Ukraine people have demonstrated remarkable courage and resilience in defending their freedom, democracy, and national identity. And whereas the Ukraine-American community enriches the civic, cultural, and educational and economical life of Vincennes and helps strengthen the enduring friendship between the United States and Ukraine. And whereas the residents of Vincennes recognize the importance of supporting peace, freedom, democracy, and international cooperation. Now therefore, I, Joe Yoakum, Mayor of the City of Vincennes, do hereby proclaim Monday, August 24th, 2026 as Ukraine Independence Day in Vincennes and encourage all residents to observe this day by recognizing the contributions of Ukraine Americans and expressing solidarity with the people of Ukraine. And if you're not aware, our sister city in Ukraine is Ulrich, so, and that's a fairly new sister city, so. And you will see the signs around town that have the sister city seals from they have been replaced and added Ukraine, so. Anything else under miscellaneous? Public comment?
They all
Everybody left. Nothing else, just an emotion to adjourn.